generate parentheses, we did something similar where we were validating parentheses. Now we are asked to generate parentheses from given number. So given n pairs of parentheses, write a function to generate all combinations of well-formed parentheses. Well-formed parentheses. So if we are given 3, in this example we are given 3, now we are asked to generate the permutation, the combination of 3 parentheses. So you see now in this one we have a complete 3 parentheses, in another one we have a complete 3 parentheses, like that, like that. Now the maximum combination of valid 3 parentheses we can get is 5 um, valid parentheses. So now from given number we are asked to generate these parentheses. When we are given 1, we can only generate 1 valid parentheses. So without further ado, let's get started. Now this question is kind of tricky, requires you to understand one or two technique, but in my own solution here, I make sure, like, I'll try and make sure to make it easier to understand. So now the first thing I want to do is to, let me say this num, let me change it to num, don't want it as num. So now let me just first to do is generate the combination of a single opening and closing parenthesis. What are the combinations we can get from a single opening and closing of this? So we can get opening, I don't need also complete, please. We can get this, we can get close and opening, and we can get close. We can get this. So this is the combination from just opening and closing parentheses that we can get. So we can get 4 elements. So now we can use these 4 elements to keep generating this, to permutate, to run permutation or combination, anyone, and generate these valid parentheses. So I will say permutation, our permutation that we want to get, I will say this, or our combination we want to get. Then I will now say temp, which I'm going to be using to hold our temporary value. Then I'm going to run a while loop and say while I, let me define I first. Say while I equals, what is I num. I say while I is greater than 0. So because we want to do 3, so if we are given 3 here, we want to do 3. So that's why we're setting I to 3 and say while I equals to 0. So for each const let me call it output, for each output, for each element in our output of this output, I will say for each combination of combination, this is our combination, bad naming, anyways, we want to push temp and say temp should be element then comp. So now my suspicion is that because we do not have element in this output, we are not going to enter into this. What way can I use to get this? Let me just, should I assign it to this? And then no, let me put an empty element for temp, an empty element for temp, and I'll now say this. After I'm done, I'll say our output equals temp, then I set our temp equals to empty array. Then don't forget our I should have done that earlier. We decrement our I by 1. So with this now, I think we've successfully generated multiple combinations of this opening and closing bracket. Now the thing is that all the combinations we generated, most of it are not valid. So if you see from our combination here, we have opening, opening, opening and close, close and opening, close, close. We only have one valid. So that means in our output, it's possible we have plenty multiple invalid parentheses. So what we want to do now is to filter it out, whichever one that is not valid. Remember in our last when we were trying to validate parentheses, we wrote a function to validate parentheses. So we can easily repeat the function here to validate parentheses. Write the function here, say valid parentheses. So we send in a string into it, and then we write our match and say what is our match, say if this. So this is only what we want to do. So because we are just using this valid parentheses, we now say the array equals this. Then from there we want to run loop and say for let's it is, let me call this parentheses of parents. So I'll say for element of parents, if this guy, if it matches. So why I'm writing it this way is just like the way we wrote our function before, we say array dot. So what we are looking for, if the last guy minus 1 is equals or is not equals match parent, then we want to return false, else we want to do array.pop. So from there I think we are done. You can just return if array.length we return false, else we return true. Now with this, now we have our validator, our function that validates parentheses. So we can use this our function here. I will say this our output dot map. We want to map individual elements in it and say this element, then whichever one that gives us. So from here we map it and we have validate parentheses. So this one is going to give us the valid parentheses, true or false, true or false, true or false. So then we now want to do, if it is true or false, true or false, we now say if it is true, give us the element. If it is false, give us nothing. So now with the true or false that this one is going to give us, we're going to return the valid element for the valid parentheses and just nothing for the invalid parentheses. Then we can then filter out this guy. So by using filter boolean, or we can just say element. So it's still the same thing. So we can do this. Then with this now, our function to generate this parenthesis is complete. So let's run it and see if our edge cases are going to pass. Wrong answer. Wrong answer. So what is going on here? Output expected. So let me go back to this code and look at the jargons I wrote. It is me that I write it, not you. So say this, hopefully I didn't get anything wrong. So I say this equals this, why this, output, so combination, combination, then do this, then from this output I do mapping. So wait, is it this one that's giving us? So see if it's close, then there's relatively open, then from there I say okay, if this, oh sorry, so in this case we didn't had our else. I say array dot push our parent here. So from here now, let's run this code. My bad, not including this else statement. Great, this one is working, just working. Now this other edge case is passing. So let's see if our code solves all the edge cases. Submit. Please work fantastically. Please, oh my goodness, great, it worked. 124 milliseconds beat 14.21. Anyway, it worked. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any question, please drop it in the comment section, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.